A single grocery cartwheel squeals through silence, light flickers, prices rise before your eyes. Eggs, $4. Beef, $8. Even salt bleeds 20% more than last fall. You stare at the screen, the total climbing like a countdown to collapse. But this isn't random inflation. This is orchestration. Behind those glowing price tags lurks a dynasty, unseen, unheard, yet in control of nearly every bite you take. No flashy logo, no TV ads, just 14 billionaires strong, quietly shaping what you eat, drink, and pay. From McDonald's breakfast to your midnight snack, their influence flows through every grain, every drop, every dollar drained from your wallet. Their name? A silent sovereign of the global food chain, feeding the world while starving your savings. This isn't just business, it's engineered over a century, and tonight we pull the curtain back, because behind every full cart lies a family empire that's already eaten first. Minnesota, 1865. The Civil War's echoes fade like frost on the Red River, and into this frontier fog steps William W. Cargill, a Scots-Irish striver, 22 and steely-eyed, bartering barley from a buggy in Sauk Rapids. No silver lineage, just sawmill sweat and a sister's dowry dollars, $2,000 to launch Cargill Elevator Company. A lone granary gobbling Great Lakes grain, speculating on wheat waves like a prairie poker player. Imagine the gamble. Wagons creaking under canvas loads, William haggling with homesteaders hardened by sod busting, his ledger lighting fires in the lamplight. By 1870, the first mill grinds. Flour as fortune, family as firewall. William's wager? Vertical victory. Buy the bushels, bag the bread, bypass the brokers. No middlemen muddling margins. He owns the flow from furrow to furnace. Enter the kin. Sister Ellen marries into Macmillans, weaving a web of weddings that welds the clan. Alliances sealed over supper tables laden with their own loaves. William's daughter Edna? No heiress Hayes. She helms the helm post-1903, outfoxing floods that flood the fields and famines that famine the foolish. Picture her, skirts hitched against the muck, directing draymen through 1910's Red Lake deluge, her resolve as rooted as the rye. Turning timber to trade, she expands into export empires, freighters ferrying flour to famine-struck Europe. By 1920, Cargill's coffers claim 20 elevators, a fleet of freighters ferrying futures from Duluth docks, iron ore from the Mesabi, wheat from the wheat belt, all under the family flag. Secrecy seeds success. No public shares, just private pacts. Keep it in the family, William whispers from his Wayzata manor as the Great Depression devours rivals like dust devils in drought. While Wall Street wails, Cargill corners corn, stockpiling silos against the storm. Edna endures. Edna's edge, diversify or die, into cotton gins in the Carolinas, corn cribs in Iowa, cattle contracts in Kansas. Tales from the time. A 1932 ledger leak shows her outbidding banks for bankrupt barons, snapping up 10,000 acres for pennies on the post-panic pound. By his 1909 grave, the seed sprouts silent, but the silo swells, a monument to methodical might. William's whisper lingers. The land gives, but the family takes. And take they do. The progenitor's plan, planted deep, yields a yield no yield can match. (1940s) World War's whirlwind whips wheat to war. Cargill's mills churn for Uncle Sam, synthetic rubber from Soya Secrets fueling tanks and tires. Their labs in LaGrange, birthing breakthroughs from bean to bullet. Austin Cargill, Edna's nephew, ascends. A Wharton whiz with a war-weary gaze, he pivots from prairies to petrochemicals. Cargill's claws clutching chemicals by 1950, ethylene from ethanol, plastics from the plains. But the bloodline boils. Sibling schisms splinter shares. 64 heirs by 1960, bickering like barnyard banshees over boardroom bans. Dividends disputed in drawing rooms. Estates entangled in estate plans. Enter Margaret Cargill, the maverick matriarch. No-nonsense niece who nets 18% stake. Her $6 billion bequest in 2006 births the foundation fortress, funneling fortunes to arts and eco while the empire endures. $1.5 billion in grants by 2025, a veil of virtue over the vice. Yet the legacy's load lightens not. 1970s oil shocks? Cargill corners canola, crushing competitors in Canadian canola crusades. Their prairies plants pulsing with pressed seed, exporting to Japan's frying pans. 1980s agribusiness arms race, acquisitions avalanche. Prodica in 1984 for pork prowess, then the 1990s dive into dairy with dry milk deals in Denmark. The grasp grows grotesque. 2000s globalization gambit. Asia's appetite awakens. Cargill's coffers claim cocoa in Côte d'Ivoire's chocolate chaos. Coffee in Colombia's cloud forests. Cashews in Côte's coastal camps. Dive deeper. The 2004 Mosaic merger. $12.8 billion. Bite into IMC Global, birthing a fertilizer Frankenstein. 60% of US potash. Phosphates plundered from Florida's boneyards. Stories from the soil. A 2008 whistleblower's tale of Mosaic's Manatee mine. Leaching lagoons, leaking lithium-laced liquor into lazy rivers. Fish floating belly up while farmers foot the filter bills. Cargill's creed? Control the chain. From seed sovereignty, stakes in Syngenta's GMO gospel, golden rice genes guarded like gold, to slaughterhouse supremacy, Excel Corp's 1987 snatch, now JBS tied but Cargill cradled, processing 20 million head yearly. By the 2010s, the millstone's momentum, palm oil plantations in Papua, palm hearts pulsing with profit but pulsing with protest. Greenpeace's 2015 gallery of gorilla graves cleared for Cargill's crude. The legacy looms, a millstone around the market's neck, grinding global grains into family gold. Heirs inherit not just wealth, but the weight. A throne of thistles, where every expansion echoes the progenitor's pact. Expand, endure, eclipse. Dawn of the 21st century, your grocery gauntlet begins not in aisles, but acres. Cargill's 300,000 acres of US farmland, a fraction of the fields they finance via farmer loans laced with leverage, contracts that clip wings like wire. Grain giants, 25% of US corn exports, wheat waves washing world wards. From Ukraine's black soil to Bangladesh's bazaars, their barges burdening the Baltic. But the stranglehold squeezes at slaughter, North America's number one beef baron, processing 1 in 5 steers, from feedlots in Nebraska's feedlots to fridges in Florida's freezers. Their never-ever antibiotics-free facade fools the flock while factory farms fester with filth. E. coli epidemics etched in CDC charts. Salt's sinister sovereignty. Morton Salt merger in 2021, a $1.7 billion bite, now 40% of US table salt, iodized irony in every shaker. From Michigan mines to Maine's markets, their rock salt roads de-icing dollars, while domestic droughts drive delivery delays. Eggs for empires. McDonald's 2 billion annual orbs. Cargill's avian assembly lines in Arkansas aviaries. Avian flu outbreaks outsourced to underpaid overseers in Ohio's overstocked barns. 2022's cull claiming 58 million hens. Prices pecking 50% skyward. Dairy Dominion, stakes in Dean Foods' downfall, now whispering way to Walmart's wheels. Milk from Minnesota meadows to Mexican maquiladoras. Their RBST-free ruse ringing hollow amid hormone haze. The chains choke, VIE Veils and joint ventures, 50% of Mosaic's potash, puppeteering prices with quiet cartels, potassium premiums passed to potato planters, 2022's Ukraine unrest, Cargill's grain gambles gild $167 billion revenue, up 23% as your bread bucks 10%, their Odessa offices orchestrating the outflow while Odessa orphans the overflow. Offshore opacity. Cayman cloaks and Swiss silos shield the squeeze. No SEC scrutiny for the secretive sovereign. Tax treaties twisting like thistle. Every label's lie. Farm fresh? Their formula? Focus groups fine-tuning natural narratives. Sustainable? Stamped on soy from scorched Sumatran swaths. Dive into the details. A 2023 USDA audit uncovers Cargill's corn contracts capping farmer cash at cost plus 2%, while they pocket premiums from processors. The ink dries invisible, but your bill bleeds bold, a barcode of bondage where every beep betrays the bind. Behind the silos, shadows stir. Cargill's 155,000 souls, from Iowa abattoirs to Indonesian palm groves, toiling for $15 an hour amid ammonia haze, amputation risks 30 times the national norm. Picture the plant floor. Conveyor belts churning chicken carcasses at 175 birds per minute. Gloves gummed with gore. Lungs labored by listeria-laced air. A 2024 OSHA overhauls orders 500 citations for safety shortcuts, $2 million in slaps on the wrist. 2023 whistleblower waves. Child labor in meat plants. 100 plus miners slicing sinew for sub-minimum scraps. Guatemalan teens trafficked to Texas trim lines. Their tales told in tearful testimony to Senate subcommittees. Unions? Crushed like kernels. Oklahoma packing house purge in 2019. 1,400 fired for filibustering. NLRB rulings ringing hollow as retaliation rebounds. Global gouge. Brazilian soy slavers. Deforestation dividends. 80% of Amazon arc cleared for Cargill's cattle corridors. Carbon credits cashed while climate cries. Indigenous Incans inked out of Itacoatiara's indigenous isles. A 2022 Reuters reckoning. Cargill's Carrefour contracts clear-cut 100,000 hectares. Jaguars jaunted from jungles. Rivers running red with rust from runoff. The family's facade. 14 billionaires, $47 billion collective crown in 2025. Forbes files. Marianne Liebman's $9.3 billion nest egg from Salton Seeds. James Cargill II's quiet quadrillionaire quip. Their Wayzata weddings wasting $1 million on wildflower whims while workers want for wages. Dividends. $1.5 billion wired in 2025. As inflation inflames your aisles. Eggs up 70%, beef 20%, salt 15% since 2020. Philanthropy polish. Cargill Foundation's $100 million eco-edifice. Masking the methane from their mega farms, grants to green groups that graze on grants, not grit. Workers' wounds, wage theft waves, $10 million fines in 2024 for falsified payrolls. Filipino fishers filleted for $2 a day on Cargill's contract trawlers. World's wheel? Water wars in Walkerton, Ontario. Cargill's calf crisis contaminating creeks with cryptosporidium. 2,300 sickened in 2000's outbreak. Lawsuits lingering like lichen. African aid? Their empowerment programs in Ethiopia empower exports, not equity. Smallholders shackled to seed sales, yields yielding to Cargill's cut. The harvest reaps human husks. While the heirs harvest haze, a human toll tallied in tears no tiller can tally. 2021's supply snarl. COVID chains clank. Ports pile with perishables. Cargill's calculus cashes in. Profits pulsing 69% to $5 billion. As your pantry panics, pork barreling up 40%. Ukraine's 2022 unravel. Black Sea blockades. Cargill's grain galleons reroute via Romanian rails, reaping record $6.7 billion net. Wheat withheld from war zones. World waits with empty bowls, while Minneapolis mansions multiply, their marble floors funded by famine's freight. The architect's art, oligopoly's oracle. With ADM and Bunge, Cargill's ABCD cartel commands 80% of global grain trade, price pacts whispered in Wyoming wings, antitrust audits airing 2023 accusations of algorithmic auctions rigging rail rates. Your bill's blueprint, every 1% supply squeeze spikes shelves 5 to 10%. Economists etch in 2025 audits, Cargill's corner on corn futures, hedging hikes that hammer the humble. Chicago Board of Trade trades tilted by their $10 billion bets. Salt syndicates, post-merger Morton monopoly, 15% levy on life's elixir. Louisiana mines laboring under low light, outputted to oligarchic ends. Meats machinations, 85% beef baronage with JBS. Tyson, Big Four fixing fillets, FBI probes fizzling into fines. A 2024 indictment indicting insider info on inventory to inflate input costs. Inflation's illusion, farm costs, they feign, but Forbes flags family fortunes fattening 40% amid the fray. $4.9 billion net in 2023 alone. Dive into the data. USDA's 2025 report reveals Cargill's cattle contracts capping rancher reimbursements at 80% market, pocketing the premium while prairie prices prickle. The power's price? Pennies for producers, pounds from plates. A pyramid where prairies pay and pantries perish. Processors pinched by processing fees passed like poison. The architects applaud. From afar, their applause echoing in empty aisles. Wayzata's whispering winds, Cargill HQ, a modernist monolith masking the Macmillan merger. 1960s kin consolidation, 88% family fiefdom by 1990, now 90% in 100-plus heirs' hands, trusts tangled like thistle, trustees tasked with tempering tantrums. Succession's specter, no single sovereign, rotating CEOs. David McLennan till 2020, his tenure a tightrope of trade wars and tariff tussles. Now Brian Sykes steering the ship sans spotlight, a supply chain savant schooled at Stanford. His 2024 strategy shifting to resilient roots amid root rot rumors. Secrecy's sacrament, no stock tickers, no shareholder sermons. Annual reports as arcane as almanacs. $177 billion 2022 revenue, a riddle wrapped in revenue. Footnotes, fine printing foreign forays. The throne's thorns. Infighting infernos. 1979's Austin exile, ousted for overreach in oil. His 1990s dividend disputes devolving to duels in Delaware courts, settlements sealed like silos. 2010's air hurdles. Whitney McMillan, the quiet Quaker, quelling quarrels with quarterly retreats to the family farm. But 2025 leaks light-lit fuses, younger Jensens jostling for juice in JVs. Philanthropy's phalanx, $2 billion doled since 2000, but critics cry camouflage. Eco-grants greening the guilty, $50 million to Minnesota museums, masking methane mandates. 2025's shadow. AI agribusiness arms, drone-driven diversification into data-driven dairy. Satellite sows scouting soil, blockchain barcodes battling black market beans. Heirs haze, 14 on Forbes 400, yet low-key lives. Marianne's Minnesota manors with private polo pitches, Witt's wildlife whims in Wyoming wilds, their yachts yachting Yemen's Yemenite yams. The fortress fortifies, but fractures flicker, family photos fading as fortunes fragment, the shadow throne a sieve straining solidarity. October 2025. Cargill's Colossus crests $250 billion valuation. Family fortune flowering to $50 billion amid aisle anguish. Eggs eclipsing $5. Beef breaching $10 a pound. Staples straining 30% since 20. USDA's October outlook ominous with orange juice ounces up 25% from Florida. Freezes they forecast but didn't forestall. The bind breaks? Antitrust arrows. Biden's 2021 barrage. FTC faints at food fortresses. A 2024 DOJ docket docking. Deceptive data sharing with rivals. $100 million in penalties for price posting pacts. But Cargill counters with compliance cloaks. Consultants crafting cooperative competition codes. Global gauntlet. EU's farm-to-fork forks at the fore. Fining fertilizer fixes $500 million in 2025 for potash pacts. India's import inquisitions indict Indonesian inputs. Boycotts brewing in Bollywood billboards. Heirs horizon. Pivot to sustainable silos. Regenerative ranching rhetoric. $1 billion in carbon capture contracts with Chevron. But ranchers retort, regulate or ruin. Rallies rippling from Rapid City to Raleigh. The reap reverses, consumer crusades, boycotts brewing on ByteDance bans, blockchain bills tracing the trade like tamper-proof tillers, apps like ChainCheck charting Cargill's carbon footprint from cart to checkout. Policymakers ponder price parity pacts in Congress's 2025 crop bill, producer protections peeling the pyramid, subsidies shifted to smallholders, supply transparency mandates mandating manifests, Cargill's counter, we're feeders, not fixers, Sykes sermonizes in 2025 summits at Davos, donating $200 million to food security funds that funnel back to family fields, yet the ledger lies bare, a family's feast on famine's fringe, their 2025 dividend deluge drowning doubts in dollars. Stories from the struggle, a Kansas co-op's 2024 comeback, crowdfunding to cut Cargill contracts, yields yielding 15% more for members. The reckoning rises. Will it reap reform or reinforce the reign? From prairie plots to policy pulpits, the power play persists, but the people, once passive, now plow the path. Your plate? The proving ground. Will you swallow the script or spit the seeds of change? If this harvest heist hollowed your hunger for truth, forge like on the feed below, subscribe to sow more seeds of scrutiny and harvest in comments. Cargill's curse or coincidence? Until the next silo spills, shop shrewdly or starve the shadow. The chain chafes, but it can break.